Welcome to the Mindset Evolution podcast, powered by Self-Recoding, world-class consulting and coaching services that you can access at selfrecoding.com. Self-Recoding is a unique blend of neurohealing modalities that will empower you to reach your full potential. Join thousands of others who have experienced rapid results in their journey of personal growth. Now enjoy our show where we bring you tools for a powerful mind with your hosts, Kathi and Daisy Pup.
And hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 199 from the Mindset Evolution podcast, the podcast that gives you tools for a powerful mind. I'm your host, Kathi Tate from Australia. With me, as always, Daisy Pat from America. Hi, Daisy.
Hello, my dear Kathi. Good to see you and good to co-create another episode. What's up your sleeves?
Oh, I've got a good one today, Daisy. I hope this will be a really great conversation and also very uplifting because I like to throw in the positive vibes. And today I want to talk about inspiration being everywhere.
Inspiration being everywhere. Okay, fine. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm feeling quite inspired, especially this week. Things have been going really good. And I have this wonderful grandchild who just lights me up. And I'm getting excited about doing some creative stuff in this very near future. So I'm feeling pretty inspired just from the things immediately around me. And I feel like this is a good way to think about things because we've talked before about the white wolf and the black wolf and how your life feels very much depends on whether you feed the dark or the light. And I'm very much a person who likes to feed the light, as you know, Daisy, as you are yourself. And so I like to find inspiration in everything that happens to me, even when it seems like it's a tough, challenging, bad thing I'm going through. I do focus on trying to find the good thing that could come out of it, either the lesson I learn or the gift I get. I've always tried to focus on that. And I feel like it's a good way to flow through your life when you meet all these challenges, because challenges are kind of inevitable, right? Because they're the lessons. So that's how I see it anyway.
Yeah, I agree with you. So it is an inner attitude, and the inner attitude actually creates the quality of our life, because some things in life we cannot change, absolutely cannot change. And when we focus on the things we cannot change, then it's a little bit more challenging to find it inspiring. Now, when I tune myself into inspiration, I like the play on words, as you know, and the listeners know, and our viewers know. Inspiration, and I'm not speaking in a religious direction, but inspire, in spirit. When I put myself in the spirit, then I can be inspired. And I think that refers then back to the inner attitude. So that attitude that I'm choosing to have, my outlook on life, how I look at life. And that again depends on the many beliefs that I've developed or that I was conditioned to believing. And that's changeable. But I truly believe that in this world there is so much beauty and there is so much resources. And yes, we can focus on being inspired or simply choose to be inspired. Is it always easy? No, absolutely not. I had some very challenging news that I had to handle over the past couple days, and it's a challenge. Nevertheless, then it inspires me to, so let me find a different solution. I'm not giving up only because someone tells me this cannot be done. This cannot be done? Well, see me. So that's my inspiration.
Yeah, very much understand that.
Yeah.
And I like how you break the words down a lot of the time, and in this case, down to in spirit. And it strikes me that could be another way of saying be authentic.
Oh, I'm not sure if these are directly related. Being authentic.
I say that because to me, when I'm trying to really understand myself and be true to myself and find out what does inspire me, I usually come back to this place where I try and shed away all of the other things that pop into your head and try and sidetrack you, or that little voice that puts you off things, and strip all that bare and go, what would really make me happy? What would bring me joy? What do I really connect with? What do I feel when I think about doing that thing? And to me, that's more a place of, not more, but is a place of authenticity. And so when I hear you say in spirit, that's how it feels to me, because I don't feel it in a religious sense either. I feel it in the sense of being connected to myself and to my beliefs and what brings me joy. So that's how I get authenticity from it.
Yeah, I understand how you get there. I think inspired, so when I am in my spirit, that also to me means that I'm connected with my higher levels of thinking, with maybe my higher self, some call it that way. Then I'm in the spirit. I'm still not sure if I agree that it is authenticity. I think authenticity is a little bit more related to me, that I am behaving based on who and what I am. And oftentimes we are filled with all these labels and all these stickers all around us, and we believe we must be someone we cannot be, or we should be someone because society is expecting this or that behavior or this or that achievement from us. But I think inspiration now, when we go back, I think that is what you referred to in the title of this episode, inspiration everywhere. Yes, it's always there, always. Therefore, when we tune into it, that is then when we can indulge in it. And I go back to the reptilian brain. When we are in shock freeze or we're in absolute survival mode, then it's a little bit more challenging to be inspired or feel inspired or at all be in the mood to think about inspiration.
That is certainly true. I recall in my very early 20s when I was in probably one of the most challenging spots in my life up until that point. And I remember trying to find that good thing out of something that was very bad that was going on. And well, luckily for me, it was sort of so in my face, it was easy to recognize my good thing, which was, of course, my child.
I think many people can be inspired by different things. Some people feel inspired by being alone. Some people feel inspired by meditating. Some other people feel inspired by sports. Some other people feel inspired by music. And there's so many different things. And I think that is our opportunity to find out what inspires me, or how can I tune into inspiration and then be inspired. Yeah, it's not only that inspiration is everywhere, but I must tune into it, because it's like the sun shines, but I'm in a bad mood and I'm grumpy and, I don't care about the sunshine. Then the sunshine can be the most beautiful of the year, or the most beautiful in the country, or the most beautiful on the continent. But it depends on me how I tune in. And I think that is something we all can develop.
Well, I think that directly speaks to that inner attitude that you're talking about, because that's the decision to look at it that way and to choose to focus on that. Because as you've always said, where we put our focus, I can't remember the rhyming.
Everything grows.
Yeah, there we go.
Wherever your focus goes, everything grows.
That's the one. And so I think when we say we always have a choice, sometimes the only choice is how you respond. Sometimes the rest of it can be taken out of your hands, but we always get to choose how we act and how we respond to things. And I think that this is an example of that, because we're going to choose to find the inspiration instead of choosing to feel like a victim to it, or to be depressed by it, or to be crushed by it. We can choose instead to handle it in a different way.
Yes, I agree.
And can you not then, with your thoughts and self-talk, change the emotions that come, because you can change that energy through those conscious thought patterns?
It's learnable, and we can train ourselves to become more and more at ease with that. We all have our subjective emotional home. And I think it's called a wobble, but maybe not. I don't know. They had these dolls when I was a little child, and I think maybe they still have it around. It's like a figure, and in the bottom of it is weight. It just wiggles.
We called it the roly-poly man.
Okay, so then let's call it that. And that figure is getting up straight vertically because the weight pulls it down, because the weight is there evenly distributed. Now, some people have that weight distributed to a little bit on a slide sideways. And so they can be happy for 2 seconds and back they are. And then that is a little bit more challenging. Nevertheless, also I've seen people who have that little bit of a side tilt, maybe I don't even know how to say that, or tilted emotionally home tilt situation or position, is that they also can redistribute that weight that is there in the bottom, and they can have a different attitude. And then the storm comes and then they bend over and they're back up and straight and back in spirit. And it's okay that we are not the same. Everyone has the right to choose. I do truly believe that nowadays it is no longer a justification that, oh, I don't know. Of course, I don't know what I don't know. Nevertheless, it is ignorance because there's so much knowledge out there like never before. And when we want to know, or when we look around a little bit curiously, then there are things that may inspire me. I know of people, they say, oh, no, nothing inspires me. No. Okay, fine. We need those too. It's contrast. Imagine everyone would be the same and we would all be just happy campers, sunshine smiley. No, life is not a territory that is just straight even. There's this meme I've seen many years ago where there was a recorded EKG on a picture, so the heartbeat, and that is how life is. And as long as it has the ups and downs, there's life. And I quite like that picture because it explains it's okay that sometimes it's a little bit down. Now, I can decide how tremendously seriously do I take the downs. Or I say, oh, okay, so now it's down, but I know it will go up again. And what can I do now to get up again? And what can I do now to make myself feel good? And I go back to something that I said already in another episode, and I'm going to repeat it. Today is tomorrow's yesterday. This leads back to right here and now, correct?
Yes.
So when we want a better tomorrow, we can act today and make it still a beautiful tomorrow. Yeah, but we make it beautiful today. So tomorrow can be the following day's beautiful yesterday. So it's almost like I'm imagining it's a collection of cups that are in a row, and this is today. And there's another cup that was yesterday. But yesterday I was filling up today. And I also fill up my today. And the way how I fill up my today determines the quality of my tomorrows.
And your yesterdays.
Well, yeah, the yesterdays, the future yesterdays, because now I cannot change the yesterday anymore.
Exactly.
Yes,
your future yesterdays.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think when we look at it that way, that, okay, what would inspire a better tomorrow? And I can act upon it today. Some people say, no, today I'm not in the mood. And then tomorrow they are quite upset because their day is not filled with something that they could have put in there yesterday. So I truly think that it is time that we take full responsibility for our actions. And I include in there our own thinking, what we consume with your eyes, with your nose, with your mouth, with your ears. What do you expose yourself to? And that is our responsibility. And I believe that we have so many possibilities and there's so much opportunity. And when we are in good spirits, now don't they say that too? When someone's in good spirits, then they may be more inspired. And then they are capable of seeing more opportunities. Most people who are desperate or people who are saddened, all they look for actually is an opportunity. And when we start focusing on opportunities, there are so many more opportunities than we've seen before because wherever my focus goes, everything grows. That doesn't mean that there are more opportunities overnight, but I make myself in tune. I put myself in spirit to be in alignment on seeing those opportunities.
Yeah, it's like the old thing with the yellow car. Once you're looking for a yellow car, you finally see yellow cars everywhere.
Yes.
Same thing, I think. Yeah. It's a fascinating discussion. The brain is just overwhelmingly amazing at times, and what we're truly capable of, I'm sure we've only scratched the surface. But we certainly have the power to do all of these things that you're talking about. And you're right. The world is all about contrast. Living as a human being is about the ups and downs, because how could you feel the ups if you didn't know what the downs were? And whether or not that feels fair, it kind of is just the way it is. And at the end of the day, whether we get a lot of control or not around the ups and downs, we always have control over how we act and how we talk and how we respond and how we plan our next moves.
Yes, and how we plan our next moves. I think it's a good idea to put ourselves in a good spirit first and then act upon or plan the next moves, because it will be inspired. The next move will be inspired by my emotional state that I am having at that moment.
Yes. Which is why I feel like I try and look for what brings me joy before I figure out the next plan of attack. And I think as I've got older, I've realized how much more important that is. Mm-hmm. I think in your 20s and 30s, you do get very wrapped up in life because it is happening, especially when you've got a family and lots of stuff going on and maybe add a couple of animals in the picture and you're running this house and now you've got bills to pay and maybe a mortgage or rent or whatever. We get trapped into the daily grind. And it is as our children get older and start their own lives and we get more time and energy to really think about these things. This is only my opinion, guys, but my experience as well. As a fairly young mother, when my son grew up and left home, I was only around 40. So I've had a good decade now to get used to not having the busyness everywhere and to be able to dedicate myself not only to personal development and learning about who I am and all the things that, goodness, we have learnt over the course of this podcast has radically changed the way I think about my life and the world. And it has definitely made me pause and try harder to find those things that bring me joy. And indeed, that's why I moved across the country to be near my grandchild, because above everything, my son and my grandchild bring me the greatest joy. And I feel very grateful to have that in my life. And I encourage our audience to look around into their lives and find something that brings them joy that I hope will inspire them to make this inner attitude choice, to live life looking for the best and looking for that joy, looking to connect truly with the people you love and build this deeper relationships, because I do feel like that's why we're here. One of the best things about humankind is our ability to love. It is amazing, love. Absolutely floors me when I really think about it. And I feel like if we all paused just a little bit more in our busy lives to appreciate that above everything, we would have a lot to be grateful and inspired by.
I think gratitude is a very good beginning, is a very good start. It's very good that we tune into gratitude a lot, because that's a great gateway to reach higher levels. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, share with us, Daisy, what inspires you, because you, more than almost anybody I know, have some amazing goals and dreams around humanity and helping them. So what lights you up and inspires you to do that work?
I'm not sure if it is inspiration that drives me. It is, for me, no question. There's no doubt. It is that fire within me that burns and that just fuels me to do and continue doing, no matter how and no matter what barricade I'm facing or I'm wishing to overcome or planning to overcome, and I have no idea how yet, but that is just not an option. So I'm not sure if that inspires me. I think that is more of a pull. It's pulling me. It has such a huge magnetic power towards me. So it's like a huge draw. What inspires me, though, is, for example, a beautiful piece of music a classical composition. I just recently found from one of my favorite composers, Johann Nepomuk Hummel, in German pronounced, in English they pronounce it most likely Johann Nepomuk Hummel, because it's Hummel. And I found this trumpet concert I never heard before. And I'm just mesmerized. I can listen to that thing 20 times in a row. And I sense things and I see things. And then again, a new fire starts all over within me. And then I get up and I take a piece of paper. I draw something or I write something or I open my computer and create a document because there's so many sparks happening. And that, I think, comes from being in the spirit. But what inspires me is mostly the classical music, or when I make a fire on the beach, that inspires me a lot because I see the play between the wind and the fire and the wood and the sand around it and then the ocean behind. That inspires me. Sometimes the moon, full moon rise, that's spectacular and that inspires me. Sometimes the touch of a material can inspire me. Sometimes a color can inspire me, sometimes a shape. I do not think that there's anything that cannot inspire me to something. I give you an example. So people who come and visit my house as a house guest or friends, so strangers don't really visit because I'm in a very remote place, luckily. But in my house, there is no cussing. The cussing is something I'm really allergic to. The bad words. What inspired me to do is to remember what my mom had. My mom had a jar where people had to put money in when they used improper words. And it inspired me. So even the bad things inspired me to do something good. And I think that is a talent maybe that I've grown through my own life story. Because when you have nothing left, no family and no one and nothing all of a sudden, then some people call it rock bottom. And then it's possible. And I know that it's also possible without reaching that really dark place or that really low position. It's possible. And to me, inspiration everywhere, I even turn it around and I see that I can inspire wherever I go. Inspiration everywhere, everywhere. When I am the inspiration everywhere, imagine I can bring and move so many hearts, not physically, but emotionally, touch them. That's what inspires me. But the inspirations of music, some food can inspire me too, but not so much. A taste may, a flavor, for example, vanilla is something that I'm very inspired by. The smell of vanilla and the taste of vanilla, that is very inspiring to me. And then I go places and all sort of planes open up for me.
Beautiful. I love that. It seems to me that's all about the senses.
My inspiration? Yes. I'd like to add then, though, I didn't look at it this way, that it may appear that it's only about the senses. For example, a thought, when I read a poem and then I start thinking about it, that's also hugely inspiring. That's not about the five senses. It's not even another sense, the seventh or the 10th, or I don't know how many they claim to have nowadays. Things change over time. But the thought process and the thinking process or my imagination is very inspiring. And that's limitless.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean just the senses. What I meant was like the senses seem to spark things. Maybe it's a memory of the taste of vanilla from when you were young, or the classical music connects with you in a way that lifts you. I don't know, maybe that's comes from your upbringing, your uncle, who is amazing. Yeah. But it's interesting, I think, because this is one of the beauties too, is that we're all so different, that anything is possible. Anything could inspire anyone at any time if they're open to it.
Then again, it also depends on how we connect the dots, and that can be practiced. Yeah, I can learn about more dots and then I can start playing with the dots and connect them in new shapes and forms. And I think that is where innovation comes into this world. When the existing is reinvented, but it's reutilized or used in a different way. Or maybe two things are combined and become something more specific or more specialized. And the more I think about it, it is really an inner state to be able to see it, because it's a simple thing. Wherever I go, I see hearts. That since decades, that's the case. I walk on the street and I look down and I see a chewing gum that's just flattened by tires over years and it has a shape of a heart. Or I walk on the beach and I see a shell or I see a cloud, or I see a leaf, or I see the sand, how it's putting a shade, or the shadow of an object and on the wall. And these are things that inspire me. So I agree with you that I perceive many things through the five senses, like we all do perceive everything through the five senses. And then we reconnect it to either past memories or connected to people. Or, for example, classical music certainly connects me with my ancestors within me. That's how it feels to me. And that inspires.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But really, it's a choice. Open your eyes, open your heart.
Yes. And I like the connect the dots analogy is a good one, I think, because even from the very base of that picture, you can choose how many dots there are, can't you? And whether you want to add more dots, investigate those dots, find smaller dots. Yeah. It's a great way to think of it in a more abstract way. I think everybody can understand that picture. Yeah, well, this has been really interesting. I think it's turned out completely different to what I imagined, as always, but that's why we wing it. So thank you, Daisy.
Thank you.
Thank you to everybody out there. Please share our episodes with your family, friends, and colleagues. We built this library of our experiences to give you these tools that we have learned over the years, and we appreciate your support. As always, please do visit our major sponsor, selfrecoding.com, and find out how you can participate in workshops with Daisy and help more and more people as we go. So that's it from us today. We'll be seeing you soon. We are Bald and Blonde.
Mindset Evolution. Talk to you next time. Thank you for listening in to the Bald and Blonde Mindset Evolution podcast. Please share our show with your family and friends. Together, we make this world a better place for you, for us, for future generations. When you need consulting or coaching, visit selfrecoding.com. Also, please remember to rate us 5 stars and leave a review and support us at baldandblonde.live. Talk to you soon.